Hello. Welcome back to another edition of Hobby News Daily. I'm still Danny Black, but I am joined by my friend Dylan, Double D, Vintage Baseball Cards, Dylan Davis. What's going on, my friend?
Man, it's stoked to be here, Danny. I appreciate it. You asking me. I appreciate the opportunities you've given me in the hobby, and you've stuck your neck out for me, and you've been like um, inspiration for me. I know you're so involved, and you do so much. Where I just push go and just play with my baseball cards. You're like I gotta do one episode a week. I gotta do this. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. That's too much. So, anyways, too much talking. Thanks, Danny, for having me on. Appreciate it.
Honestly, I do it for nights like this. Uh, we're in very different time zones, and technology lets us play with our cards together, and that's all we're really doing. So let's have a little bit of fun with it. Um, First of all, where are you? Tell people who don't know where you are, where you are coming from, and where you live.
I'm in Hawaii. I'm keeping the island a secret. You know,
Yep.
you know. That's where I'm at. And you're like, it's 10 o'clock at night where you're at. I'm asleep by 9:30 pretty much every single night. Probably because I surf all day. Like I surf for like 4 hours. My friend sent his kids over here with his wife, and so I took his kids surfing. They're incredible. They're like national champion surfers. So I took them surfing today, and this old guy has to keep up with them, and I had to outlast them, and I did. But I pay the consequence. So I'll be asleep so fast after this.
I was about to say,
What
sounds
does your
like
wife?
fresh.
What does your wife think about you? You like a night owl?
I'm an all hours person, so I have friends who start at 6 a.m. So I usually start on the messages at
Oh yeah.
6 a.m. And then on the flip side, I hit the West Coast people on the back end. It's a terrible lifestyle. It really is. It's unhealthy. It's too much caffeine, and uh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's awesome. I Isn't it crazy? So I don't know how long you've been like in cahoots with other fellow collectors like I have the last 2 years. Finally, it's completely different. Like you just talked about, I wake up and already have 100 text messages because everyone's 3 to 5 hours ahead of me, and I'm just like this is, and then my wife's like looks at me just full side eye like, and we're just like, dude, I mean,
Yeah.
right? Like they think we're crazy. And then you have like one text thread with these people and another with these and another with these, and then solo text messages with certain people you connect with. And it's just like, it's crazy. When
But
did that all happen for you?
it's funny because I'm such a not. I'm naturally antisocial. I know that I think it's more common around among content
Oh,
creators
yeah.
than people would realize. I'm
In the
completely
sports card hobby.
Actually in general. I'll tell
Oh,
you,
okay.
when I used to do radio work, most people there don't want to be around people, and it's I think the hobby is so cool because the cards give us an outlet from having to worry about dealing with the social part of it. I'm somebody who gets social anxiety, and it'll mess with me. But when I get to sit there and just talk about cards, and that's such a safe place. And so when you have friends that share the same stuff, it just makes it so much more peaceful and relaxing, and it's just a nicer vibe. But
Yeah, 100%. I agree with everything you said. And it's fascinating because you we all have best friends that we grew up with. I have surfer friends. I have all high school buddies. But when you have card friends, you never run out of things to talk about. I could never do with my friends unless we're like drinking and
right,
like and then we just talking about old stories about, oh, remember this, remember this, remember this, and then you make new stories along the way. But it's really hard to make new stories with those old friends
yep.
because you don't have like cardboard is our life in a sense. Like to me, every time I look at a baseball card, I'm reversed back to when I would sit in the front yard and look up at the trees and the wind blowing, and then we play home run derby, and you just have this all the kids we all hung out on the streets, and that's what it feels like to me now. It's all the kids that I hung out with on the street playing roller hockey and home run derby and flag football down the street. You know, it's so natural. So it makes it really fun.
Don't forget running bases.
Running bases.
Did you have running bases?
What do you mean?
Where you would have two bases and you'd have to run between before you.
Of course, you get pegged.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean pickle?
We called it running bases.
Oh, yeah, we call it pickle on the West Coast.
Okay. So wait, where did you actually grow up?
I grew up in Huntington Beach, California, Surf City.
So you've always been a coaster.
What's a coaster?
Oh, West Coast, farther.
We have different words, you know. Coaster?
Coaster. Yeah, it's also what I put my drink on.
Dude, that's what I was thinking. Shout out to Fisher Bike.
There you go. Oh, that's super cool, by the way.
Super cool, right? Friends got a coaster. I'm just like, I mean, how much cooler can this hobby get?
Exactly. Okay, so wait, you grew up in California. When did you get into cards?
Oh, I've been into cards since I came out of the womb. Like I remember, I don't remember like the exact moment of cards, but I think it was movie cards, and I think I was in T-ball. It's probably 5, right? And going in the vending machines at Lamppost Pizza and pulling out, but it was movie cards in there. And then that, obviously, I don't know how fast, probably instantly, like, went straight to baseball cards. But my first, like, glory packs were 1987 is when my dad would buy me 1 pack for every kid I struck out in baseball. Back in the day, we didn't have coach pitch. You know, went from, I'm an athlete. So I was good then as I'm little, you know, you got an advantage when you're little. It's easy. And so
some of those big guys were pretty good back in the day.
Oh, well, you guys would come up and hit home runs. I never hit a home run until I went to softball, you know, like, yeah, right. So, but I would strike guys out, you know, when I was like 8 years old. And so sometimes I'd go and get like 7 to 9 packs of Topps 1987. So that's officially like when I remember going to Baseball Cards Plus, which my old shop is actually still there. So every time I go back to California, it's still there. The same owner. And to this day, he still barely recognizes me. It's like, we didn't talk then. We didn't talk then. We don't talk now. It's like crazy.
That's the greatest story.
Yeah. I was the kid in the vintage box, in the dollar box, buying vintage $1 cards. He never once said, hey, youngster, hey, Dylan, I see you every freaking day. You ride your rollerblades in my store. Every day you put your bikes outside with your friends. No, never once said, hey, maybe you should check this card out, or like, give me some advice. Never have it happened. And when I go to the card shows, every time they were at the malls, nobody talked to me. I know all these old guys, like, I mean, they were, we knew about centering back then. Side note, look, no one told me. And when I looked at my cards, when I was buying them in 1998 on eBay, you know, I saw centering, but no one taught me anything. Everything was taught by myself until I got on YouTube. Literally, that's it. Everything was by myself. I never talked to dealers. I went to card shows my whole life, you know, but I never talked to the vintage dealers. I would buy vintage cards online, and I would buy modern cards boxes at like Frank & Sons. There's a big show out here every Wednesday and Saturday, or in California. And I went to there for like 15 years straight. But I never talked to the vintage dealers. And at my old card shop, man, I was just dollar binning the vintage stuff. And stuff looks like crap. Like, I mean, it's cool, but they're just like wrinkled up cards, and he put them in his box. Like, why didn't he tell me I could afford some of these other cards? Yeah. So it's really weird to be in this hobby for as long as I've been in, but yet the knowledge that I've learned in the last 2 years supersedes the last 35 years. And it's really, really insane. I completely morphed my entire collection. Thank God that I was
snowball effect also.
Fully, yeah. I mean, thank God I was buying the higher grades back then, because I sent a card in to get graded, a 63 Bob Gibson Fleer, when I was, man, I want to say 17 years old or something. And it came back a 7. I thought I looked like a 10. So it came back a 7. So I go, well, I want all my cards 7s then. So that's when the ball got going down the court. If a card can look that good, and thank God I just said 7s all day, because that gave me ammunition until this day to purchase the stuff that I really like. So
You made it to your first national this year.
yep.
I've genuinely am curious. Where do you buy most of your cards these days?
Online.
It's still online by far.
99.9%. I have a tiny card show over here on my island. Like, literally, there is no vintage tables now. The guys that I was buying from, I'm friends with them, and I go to their house and hang out. They're 75, 78 years old. I talk to them on a weekly basis. I talk to them all the time. And one guy, I bought all his cards.
Well, you better.
Yeah, we have so much fun. A couple of them have like little mini rooms, like I have. Like, they go to like, yeah, it's crazy. But online, I wish I had card shows to go to. I don't. There's no card shows where I live that are like anyone else. So I'm still an online guy, and I'm okay with that.
Do you buy graded or raw?
Graded.
Because you're online.
Nah, even when when I went to the national, I went through the dollar bins the last day when I had like $300 left to my name, and I bought like 100 cards. So there's nothing more fun for me than going through even not dollar bins. They just had price tags on them, right?
Right.
Raw vintage. I love doing that. That's like my favorite thing in the world. But if I'm gonna fly somewhere, I'm gonna go to a card show, I'm gonna look at the cases, and I'm gonna buy a graded like Grail card. That's
Sure.
what I'm there for, because I want to see that in the flesh. But none of that's necessary. I definitely found that it wasn't. I mean, it was about the cards for me at the show. Like, I can't tell you how much time I spent looking at every second it was open. I was at the show. After hanging out, when we hung out with the people at night, it was incredible. Like that's unreal. But I think I really want to go look at the cards with those people. So when we're walking around the show together, that was my favorite part.
So I know it's not easy for you just to like randomly, hop on a plane and, go to shows. But if you can ever get to the Strongsville show
I heard
in
about it.
Strongsville, Ohio, Dylan, you would be like a kid in a candy store.
I'm always a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It is the best vintage show in the country, by far.
I keep hearing that.
Yeah, the word's getting out. Unfortunately, they moved it. It's growing a little bit. There was something charming about it in the basement of a Best Western. But
yeah, that's really awesome.
Okay, so let's talk about the fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite set?
I'm not going to answer that, Danny, because I'm doing a countdown of tops, and I don't want to give that out. I've thought
Does
about
that
it.
mean your answer is tops?
Well, 100%. I'm a tops guy.
Okay.
I'm a tops guy. So if you're going to take a non-top set, I'll give you my answer. And that would be any of the Gaudy sets. I would probably say 33 and then 38 heads up would be my two favorite. I like the Sports Kings as well. Those would be my favorite sets. Outside top.
Favorite two-way athlete: Jim Thorpe, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders.
Well, I don't know anything about Jim Thorpe except that he's in the Sports Kings, and I've seen his cards, and I don't know anything about football. Only reason I know who Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders are is because they played baseball, and if I had to choose either of them, I'd probably choose Deion Sanders because of that SP card he had at Upper Deck, where he's the football and baseball. That card vividly sticks in my brain, although I probably have more Bo Jackson cards in my collection.
Best card in the 87 top set.
Wally Joyner, rookie,
Ooh,
the Trophy Cup.
his swing or Will Clark's swing.
I don't remember either of their swings. I was 7 years old.
Am I that much older than you? This is embarrassing.
No, I'm 43. I don't know how old you are.
I'm a little older than you.
So, everybody talks about, like, I used to go to baseball games all the time. I don't remember a single like hit. I don't remember like a play. Dude, I was there because of the experience of it. I don't know. I don't know what Wally Joyner's swing looked like. I don't know. I know what Ken Griffey Jr.'s swing looks like.
Okay.
Because he's Ken Griffey Jr. and I grew up like emulating him trying to bat left-handed. But I really don't know. I don't know. That's not my thing. I honestly, if I never watched I like baseball. I love baseball. I watched baseball games growing up. I watched all these guys play. But I could never watch baseball again, not be a baseball fan, and I would still collect baseball cards forever. It's irrelevant to me. I read books about baseball players, so that's kind of my jam. And I love second I read a book, it's like I want to go get all these cards.
I absolutely love that. This is fantastic. So I have like 16 new questions. When you decide to collect something, are you collecting multiple things at the same time? Like, how do you decide what you're going after?
Okay, so this is great because I talked about it before. Before it was just PSA 7s, tops. I just loved them. But now, since YouTube, since my friends that I've watched, I'm my favorite YouTuber of all. Like the guy that inspires me more than anyone in the whole hobby, Shane Shoebox Legends. Now I'm inspired by a lot of guys, and I'm friends. I friends with a bunch of guys, but Shane's videos to me inspire me to collect the way I'm collecting now and how I went about certain things. And so when I realized that I'm an Angels fan. I'm an Angels diehard for my life, like everything about the Angels. So when I just started collecting somebody just recently, and how my brain works is I am not ashamed to say it. I want my cards to be worth more in the future. So I don't just blow money on anything. I want to find a player that I think is undervalued, underappreciated, and will be a guy in the future that people will remember and talk about. I've been buying a lot of big cards over the last year. Well, I wanted a guy who's less expensive, but I also wanted to make sure this guy played for the Angels. So I started just recently, I'm like, man, who can I collect? Just going down the list, looking up on who played for the Angels. And then I didn't realize, but we got Godzilla. Hideki Matsui played for the Angels. And
Yes, I forgot.
I'm a huge Sadahara O fan. I love collecting his cards. I love Ichiro. I think Japanese baseball is going to blow. I mean, it's huge already. I'm talking about like them collecting American cards because you got Shohei Ohtani. He's an Angel. I'm obsessed. So I went just crazy these cards like $8. It's numbered out of 50. It's a gold. He's in an Angels uniform. It's beautiful. And this is like $9 or something. It's kind of a no-brainer. You can't lose. And I also wanted once I got going, then I didn't care what team he played for. After that, it was like, it's on. But then you got these Angels, another gold. I'm all about low numbered stuff. Like this stuff is like 1 in every 300 packs. That's kind of my goal. And if I can get them for $5, so I just went on a nuts tear on Hideki Matsui's. My favorite card I picked up of his is a Yankees card. And it is, to me, they made the set. It was his rookie year, and they made the set. I mean, this is just me, my brain thinking this, because he's from Japan, and he was the biggest guy to come up in 2003 in my mind. and they made it, the design in Upper Deck Victory, the same as a Pokemon card. And I just think it's just such a sick card. This one is a parallel, and it's numbered out of 650. Not, I only seen one of these. I mean, it's not like it's a, I think this was $15, but it's just, it's an outstanding card to know that this is a Japanese player and his rookie year, and this is a full-blown Pokemon copy. And Pokemon is huge now. It wasn't then in America. And to me, this card just like, that's how I go about finding new players. I want them to play for the Angels, or I want them to connect like this. We've got Shohei Ohtani passing, or we got Godzilla passing the torch to Ohtani. This is the tops now. This is $5. It's really cool though. Most home runs in a season by a Japanese player. Just awesome. I also love Bowman Chrome, and this is a gold. And these are numbered to 50. And I was buying massive amounts of packs in 2007 in massive amounts. I mean, I'm talking cases, 2007 Bowman Chrome. And so I know how hard these are to pull. And this was like $12. So I'm going to do a whole video of my own to show off I spent like $350 on his cards, and I probably got like 20, and they're all like cards from the 2000s, obviously 2003 till like 2010, 11. I mean, this one right here, this thing is numbered to 10. It's his rookie. It's like, dude, his stuff is so insanely inexpensive, and it's right up my wheelhouse of what I was buying packs and collecting. So that's how my collections form. They need a connection somewhere. And once I get going, it's like, it's on. And then like his cards are all going to be in one touches. I'm not buying any graded cards. And if I am, because one I bought graded, that last one, but it came cracked in half, and I go, okay, well, it's official. I'm breaking out all the graded slabs I get of his, because sometimes they're cheaper to buy graded. So I'll crack them out. I'll put them in my one touches, and I'm experimenting with like new logos, with my
that's cool
label on there, and it's just really fun. So
by the way,
that's how I go after it.
The one behind me, that's all one touch.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, right? It's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm so glad that you use them. Do you use the ones with the penny sleeve?
Yeah, I literally just got those in today, literally 15 minutes before. They're
so sweet.
These are like incredible. I had the cheap ones, the Ultra Pro, and then the penny sleeve didn't fit, and then I was like cutting penny sleeves, and I'm like, dude, this is so dumb to save like $1 a card. Like, you know what? This is my collection. I can spend $2 on a piece of plastic, make it look good.
And so if I ever sell it, I keep the one touch. It's worth more than the card sometimes.
Well, those I'll never sell. I have other things that I'm ready to sell. But yeah, that's how I go about it. That's how I make it.
So you're working on Hideki.
Mm-hmm.
What else are you working on?
I have another really fun one. And since you asked, I'll show it. And this
is what baseball card lovers do. I just want to see what you're collecting.
So I've been selling baseball cards on eBay for 20 plus years. And I've been selling, I used to buy big Mickey Mantle collections, but not player run, not playing days Mantle collections. I would buy the non-playing days Mantle collections, like huge giant collections, 600 cards at a time, people's full collections.
Wow.
So I would list them on eBay because Mickey Mantle sells more than anything. I learned that trial and error. So once I figured out he was the best seller 10 to 13 years ago, I just started buying. So I have probably 5,000 Mickey Mantle cards that are not his playing days cards, and they're all on eBay. But what I realized is from those eras how hard certain ones are to pull, and I was buying packs back then, so I'm collecting them. So this is a Mickey Mantle base card from 2009, and this is the gold. Impossible pull, numbered to 50. And the image on it is just spectacular. And I know how freaking hard these are to find. and to pull. So I paid $120 for this. The guy wanted like $500 in the beginning. And then I watched it for like a year. And then he sent some random offer. It was like 120 or something. I was like, did this guy mess up? I hit it so fast. I found one more sense just last week, 2000 and something else. But in the meantime, I'm picking up other ones that are rare, hard to find. This is 2000 and 2011. And this one's numbered to 100. And this is the Chrome. And it's just fun to collect these guys with new images. And Mickey Mantle is the biggest guy in our hobby, period. And he always will be. No matter what anyone says, Mickey Mantle is the king of our hobby. And that's based off of 20 plus years of selling baseball cards on eBay. Mantle sells no matter what it is. So that's another collection I'm going down. All his rare stuff from the 2000s and on that I was buying boxes of and also selling of his cards. And I'm having a really fun time with it.
Well, as an Oriole fan, I'm physically not don't have the constitution to do a Yankee, but I understand where you're coming from in theory. I've just Al Kaline was born in Baltimore. I picked up this autographed out of '99.
What set is that?
This is Iconic Perspective.
Dude, I've never even heard of that set.
Yeah,
I learn something new every day.
Yeah, no, it's top. It's part of the Topps tribute.
Okay, the Topps tribute. Okay,
but it's the Iconic Perspective because it's like half acetate. So it's a cool card. But I just started getting turned on to the post-career cards, so I was glad.
It's fun.
I'm just like I'm a newbie to this.
Me
This
too.
is yeah. So I'm glad to hear you show those off.
I mean, they're not only like the greatest players to ever live, legendary. They're not that. I mean, the Mantles are more expensive than some, but they're like
it's all about what your connection is. Like Al Kaline's a Baltimore guy, so for me, that connection is cool.
Yeah,
you know, I'm not comparing it to a Mantle, but for me, that's good enough to own. I love having that card.
Yeah, and they're like new images that we never got on the old vintage cards. Images that people collect photos. Well, I don't collect photos. I love baseball cards. They fit. They go where I want them to go. So for me, like the more photos I can collect on cards, the more art I can collect on cards, the better. Stay just like Dr. Beckett. Like I don't collect anything else. I just want the card. That's it.
You mentioned art twice there. Does that play into your modern and your vintage, or do you feel like your brain collects differently if it's modern versus vintage?
No. Art cards to me are my favorite period of all time. I include Topps as art because I think
I'm agreeing with you.
Maybe people don't understand, but these were designed when there wasn't Photoshop and all these things. And someone sat down and drew these designs up and made up these incredible pieces. And anyone who thinks cards aren't art is simply wrong because my wife's an artist. She does artwork for companies. She did, and she does her own stuff now. And she's had series at different companies, like Crazy Shirts. She had different series of things. It's all artwork, and the designs on Topps are art. So I'm big on that. I think sidetrack, but I think the problem with modern Topps cards, I found a loophole in the modern Topps cards. I'll say that after. But what my problem is with the modern Topps cards is it's all photography. Everything's got to be a photo, like an action shot or something. Like I know they have the photo variants, the variations, and I do. I'm not a big fan of the photo variations simply because I really like my card to be numbered. I don't want a secret fake. I don't want a secret rare card. I want my rare card to say it's rare. I want my card to have a number stamped because it's easier for collectors. And for me, dude, I don't want to do a bunch of research on this stuff. Right. I wish that they would do more shots of like, you know, these types of portraits and stuff. They don't do that much, but I did realize exactly.
That's
I
why I
wish,
love the 57s. As part of the
yeah,
reason.
I wish the regular Topps base cards they would intermix those in the regular cards. That to me would make the design stand out a lot more. And every year you can kind of do that. The loophole for me is that I collect heritage. Because of that, I collect all the black chrome heritage and the refractors because they do those images and then they do them on the vintage designs, which I'm obsessed with. So that's kind of my loophole. But I wish Topps would do that on their regular base cards. I don't want an action shot on everything. I don't like 1973 and a lot of as they went forward, it was just turned into all action. And I really love the old ones like 58 and 56. They did an action shot and a photo of the person. Like I wish they would do that more. Side
Um,
note.
no, that I mean, it. Part of the reason I collect the 57 set for a number of reasons. One of them is the first photography, soul photography, and that great portrait shot. I love the standardized size. I love the career stats on the back. And there's a million reasons I love the set. It's the rookie for Brooks Robinson, for Frank Robinson, two Baltimore legends.
Oh yeah. Oh
It
yeah. That's
happens.
why you love the set.
Perhaps that influences me a
It's
little
in
bit.
there.
Um, but yeah, so you have to collect something that connects with you and that you have a passion for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think no matter what it is, modern or vintage, what you're saying rings true. Is it's that same connection. It's
Yep.
you don't collect vintage just to say, hey, I was able to buy this card. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Nor do I go into a card and buy a card simply because I think it's going to be worth more in the future. No, I'll buy a card because because I think that and it connects to me and my collection. It's gotta hit multiple facets. I would never just buy a card simply because it's going to go up in the future. I'll buy a stock instead. If that's not the point of collecting for me. The point of collecting for me, I can hit all aspects. I can hit the fact that I want my cards to be worth more. I can hit the fact that it's going to connect with me. I can hit the nostalgia button. I can do so many things with your collection. That's what I love about it.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to phrase it differently than your favorite set because I'm not asking your favorite set.
Yeah.
What historical set do you think would sell well now? So
Historical top set or like any set?
And any set, like Heritage always goes back and grabs the top set from 30 years before or whatever.
Oh, okay, I see. So what Heritage set would be the most
But
popular?
you can choose anything beyond tops, if you want.
Well, they did back in 2007. Upper Deck did the Gaudi. I thought that was a great idea, and I pulled real Gaudi cards, 1933 Gaudi cards from those boxes. I have one behind me.
I forgot that they put the real ones.
Yeah, they did, and I have one behind me that's still in the package, still in the penny sleeve with a with an Upper Deck seal on it that I pulled in a pack. Me or my buddy Danny. I have a guy called Jim Elliott from the 33 Gaudi set. I got it graded that. We thought it was like a Babe Ruth when he pulled it out of the box. Me and buddy, oh my gosh, we did it! And then it was Jim Elliott, and ever since then we was like, anytime that something bad happened, you just got Jim Ellioted.
Right.
I still have the card. I'll never sell it. I think that's set, but they've done it. They could do it again. Whoever owns the rights to that, I'm guessing whoever Upper Deck. I don't know. Beats me.
It's all Fanatics. So yeah.
Okay. As far as the obviously Heritage is doing all of them. I think their 75 year that I think Topps Archives did the 75 already. I don't think Heritage has done 75 yet. When that one comes out, trust me, I'll probably buy a case of it.
Really?
Yeah,
you love
75 it. Topps to me is when I was a kid, I talked about this story a million times. I was at a friend's house. I was probably 5 or 6 years old. He had a stack of 1975s on his shelf. He didn't know what they were. But my buddy Ty He's in my neighborhood, and I grabbed them, looking through them, and there was a Robin Yount rookie card, and it was worth $27 back then. It wasn't even Beckett's weren't even out then. It was pre-Beckett. I have the thing. I remember what it was called. I have it over here, and I never forgot that card ever
since. Was it Tough Stuff?
What's that?
Was it Tough
No,
Stuff?
it wasn't Tough Stuff.
Okay.
It was like before Tough Stuff. In my Tough Stuff, I think Tough Stuff was after.
Yeah.
But I'll share it at some point. I've shared it before. But that set to me, that's why I'm obsessed with Robin Yount's rookie card. I one time I had over 40 of them. Now I'm down to like 12 perfectly centered, perfect eye appeal ones. So I have addiction to 75 tops. It's the only set that I would consider collecting the entire thing, and I won't sell any from my binders. Whereas, side note and shout out, I am starting to sell on Whatnot, and I'm doing my first Whatnot sale next Wednesday. I got inspired by guys like Jimmy Guns, who sell live on YouTube, but I'm like, I would never do that because I have to have sticky notes and I have to type in people's addresses and look at email. I don't even look at email. Yeah. This is set up where it's just like I put the cards in before, I can do the live auction, I can have a good time, I can interact with people.
So give the date to everybody again. It's Wednesday.
Okay, so next Wednesday on Whatnot, you guys can check out my channel and I have links to it. And if you sign up, I get money, but I'm not sponsored by them. They didn't approach me. I saw my buddy Greg, Midlife Cards, do a Whatnot sale. I'm like, man, that looks like a blast. So I'm decided to sell all of my ungraded, graded. I'm just grabbing the stack.
Yeah.
You know, most guests don't leave the thing, but yeah, whatever.
We don't have rules.
I have binders of cards that I've graded over the years, over the decades, my personal grades, and I've made new labels for them and stuff. So I'm selling all of them in my binders. I have like 2,000, and I'm selling all of them. I'm starting with a stack of 70s to begin with, and I'm going to do it every week if it works out, and I have a good time with it. I'm not going to give up. I want this to work because nothing's more fun to me than being able to sell live and interact, and then I can hit the ship button, and the addresses are in there. I don't have to do all that work behind. Like, the worst thing for me is emailing and texting back and forth with somebody trying to make a deal. I don't want anything to do with that. So for me, it's like eBay. I'll give some money away to the company if they make my life easier and I can have fun with it. So next Wednesday at like 4:00, I'm having a sale. It's going to be live. It's going to be really fun.
That's awesome. Good for you for putting yourself out there for that.
Yeah, I'm excited. And something, turn those cards into other cards.
And that was going to be one of the things I was going to bring up. Do you have any quick tips for people who are trying to upgrade their collection on a little bit of a budget?
I mean, dude, stop looking at the grades. Grades are ridiculous. It makes zero sense to look at grades. It doesn't. I don't understand why anyone would pay a PSA 9 price for a vintage card. And the PSA 9s don't even look as good as half of my 4s that are perfectly centered. It is silly and ridiculous, and it's a rich man's lazy man.
Here's a PSA 2 that I'm very happy with.
Stunning. At PSA 2. I mean, give me a break. Nothing's better than having a good-looking PSA 2. You paid that was probably $40.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, 9 in that, you're talking probably 5,000 to 20 grand. Something stupid. And then you're like, and then a PSA 8, same thing. PSA 8s are always, 90% of the time off-centered and diamond cut. And then PSA 7s, they're probably the best value for your buck if you're looking for like a pack fresh. And that's kind of why I went after them for those decades. But a guy like me, man, I'm done with the grades. The last thing I ever want to do is, I will buy PSA 7s. Don't get me wrong. I don't care anymore. Irrelevant. The only thing I won't buy is anything has big jumps. Like in 1970s cards, which you seem to think are going to be worth a fortune in the future, you could buy PSA 8s for not a huge jump compared to, 7s and 6s. But I'm still going to buy 5s and 4s if the card looks good. I really don't care. The grade to me means absolutely nothing, and that's what I've changed in my collection more than anything else, is the thought of the grade.
I agree with you, and I've shown this before, but
Moberg.
I love the front of this card for what I was able to get, and I call it a chicken back, but it's technically a rooster stamp. There we go.
The sickest stamp I've ever seen on a card.
Well, I've decided that I'm calling it the rare chickenback version. I know that's not technically correct, but it sounds better than roosterback. I don't know why. So I'm calling it the rare chickenback version, and I'm convincing people that it's a subset, that it's just very rare. So,
well, it is rare. There's probably only one like it. I mean, that guy probably has other cards,
right?
Which would be cool to find. If I ever find a chicken back, I'm buying it, because it's the same guy.
I was about to say, if you come across the 33 Gaudi chicken back, I want that card so bad, you have no idea.
I'll charge you. Don't
never
worry.
even dawned on me that there might be another one. That would be
guaranteed.
Fantastic.
There's chickens. You probably have Tops chicken. The guy that was his trademark, guaranteed.
I just feel like it's so Americana. It came off a farm somewhere. Some kid had it.
Chickens are popular, man. They are popular.
All right. Well, we went well into overtime, but for you, there is no time limits. Dylan, where can everybody find you other than Whatnot?
Okay. Well, before that, I have to share a couple more cards.
Please share everything.
I have a couple cards that really hit the spot for me, and how my collection is forming, and cards that will be with me forever. And they have to do with fellow YouTubers and a guy who watches all your shows, and he's always in the chat. Mookie Chilson. Mookie.
Yes.
He sent me some incredible stuff. And for anyone who doesn't know, I raise koi. Me and my dad raise koi, and we sell them. And he sent me a koi card. It just blew my mind. It's from Allen and Ginter. I didn't know it existed. And it's a Japan card. Idea. Japan flag, because koi are from Japan originally, the rice patties. I cherish this. I put this in a one touch, and it's like one of those. I'm not going out looking for more koi cards. I want if someone has one, they want to send me it, I would love to have it. But cards like this mean the world to me. He also sent me,
I believe that's a rookie, by the way.
Yeah, guaranteed. I mean, there's probably some in the 1800s. They probably did koi cards. Guaranteed. He also sent me this, and this is an Indiana Jones card, and it's removing the idol. And what was so cool about it is it came with a note, and the note said this reminded him of me looking for those centered vintage cards. And it's, when he's about to take the idol off and switch it, like, that's me, the bait and switch. I've given them some sucker a PSA 7 that's so far off centered, and I switched it for a beautiful PSA 4, and I popped it at $150.
That's awesome. That's great.
So I just wanted to.
Mookie's awesome. Mookie deserves a shout out.
He's awesome. Yeah. And then one more. My buddy Drew, Clean Sheep Shot, sent me this Silver Surfer card, and he didn't know at the time. But when I was a kid, I collected this entire set. 1990. So I was 10 years old. I collected this entire set from PAX, including the holograms. I don't have it anymore. I gave that with all my comics to a friend of mine I grew up with, name's Dave, for all his baseball cards. I gave my comics and these. So this card, it's on my wall. Both of these are above my desk. So I wanted to share those because I think people that haven't had the guts to get on YouTube or think they don't have the time or the skills, man, dude, trust me, I was so nervous. I couldn't even talk in a live thread, or like my first episode I talk about all the time. I was so drunk, and my wife told me, you need to do a video. And so she was there. She pushed the record button, and I did like a 10-minute video. I couldn't get the courage enough to do it and to talk about my feelings and this whole thing. So that's what it took. Doesn't mean you have to go out and drink. I don't drink on 50% of my videos. 50%. Because I mean, to me, it's like I'm hanging out. I like to have a drink, talk on my cards. It's fun, but it doesn't mean you have to do that. But the point is, like, you'll find collections will find you, and that you'll find these cards that you forgot about, and it takes you back to those moments when you were a kid. And I had a great childhood, so had to share those with you guys. They mean the world to me. Standard Hawaii cutout.
That's awesome. It's funny you say that because I picked up a card that reminded me of my childhood recently.
Yes.
For no good reason other than when I grew up and I was a dealer in the 90s, this was the card. Before the Griffey came out, before the 89 Griffey, this was probably the number one card for me. And I don't even like Mark McGwire that much anymore. You know, um, I don't know what to say other than I really like this card. It's affordable and it reminds me of my childhood.
Yes.
So that's the connection to it.
Yep.
But just, you're talking about just being able, this is an 8.5.
Yeah. That's like a $35 card or something.
Right. And it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yep.
So, we're just, for people who are looking for ways to do affordable stuff, have fun with it,
Absolutely.
And guess what? If I sell this back one day for 35, because I pick up another Bill Ripken, what card, I need my 100th Bill Ripken, error card. Who doesn't? Right. And then the only other card I wanted to say, and I wish I would have grabbed it, is the Ichiro Upper Deck Ovation card.
Yep. Yeah, I know that card. The pop out,
the seams.
Yep. You can feel it. Yep.
I just think that is a gorgeous card. I've got a couple of them. There's one way up there.
Dude, wish you could grab it because I haven't seen that card. I was buying boxes of that back then. It's that's such a cool set. Basketball had a set. Same thing. The Ovation with a basketball.
How unprofessional is that?
Dude, that is awesome to see again. Is that numbered?
No, but there is
a number.
It was limited in production.
That's such a sick card. I'm gonna go on eBay and look for that card because it brings up a lot of memories.
Yeah. So I thought you would dig this card just
it's awesome.
After hearing it. Yeah. And for people who don't know what we're talking about, I'm hoping you can actually see the embossed seams of the baseball. They're embossed right through the card, which is fantastic.
Those are really cool cards.
And if I'm correct, it was the first American company to make a card of Ichiro that was distributed solely in Japan.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's really cool to know. Oh,
I think I have that correct.
You've talked about this card before, like a year ago.
Yeah,
with John or something. I don't know where it was.
It was just one of these cards that I dig. I pick up a couple a year. I get them graded. They usually grade pretty well, and they look great in a PSA holder actually. And I like them. It's not a big investment card.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm gonna go pick one up because I collect Ichiro too. So
I thought it sounded like it was down your alley. So.
I collect all the Japanese players.
Well, as a Cal Ripken fan, he broke the world record as well. So I'm not going to try to pronounce the name, but I will DM you, and I'll have to see if you have this player because I do actually want the card. I am seeking.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I'll DM you,
and I'll stay away from it until you got one.
Right. I don't want to fight you on eBay for it. You'll win. All right. Any more cards?
No, that's good. I just wanted to make sure I shared that because I know you guys watch your channel, and I know Mookie, and I just wanted to share those.
No, those guys absolutely. So where can people find you?
On YouTube, Double D Vintage Baseball Cards, and every link is connected to that.
Absolutely. And you put
and they can find me on Hobby News Daily.
Right, I was about to say there's a link on.
If you haven't cut me yet.
No way, dude. You're on the page, and that's one of the reasons we have it. So if you're watching this video, you're watching a Hobby News Daily video. And if you go to hobbynewsdaily.com, just go to media and you'll find Dylan listed with. We only have about 6 shows on there that we promote, that we stand behind. So yeah, glad to have you on there. So yes, definitely find you there.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, my friend. Thank you for squeezing me in. I know it's middle of the dinner time in your world.
Oh, dude, it was a blast. It's a fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. I'll catch you on the flip side. To everybody else, catch you next time on Hobby News Daily. See you.